Okay, so today we're going to start our new unit, Unit 6, and we're going to start with notes number 1, which is solving quadratic equations. So what you will be able to do at the end of today is you will be able to find the solutions of a quadratic equation. So this is basically what we are doing this entire unit. There's many different ways that we're going to have to do it depending on the type of equation. Or depending on what type of quadratic it is. So whenever it says on this first one, it says identify the solutions of the given quadratic. Our solutions are going to be where it crosses this x-axis. And sometimes our quadratics don't cross perfectly at a x value, so that's how we have an equation that'll come in a little bit later. So it crosses right here and right here. So those are our two solutions. So our two solutions, whenever we have them, we are going to write them as ordered pairs. So we have 1, 0, because it's our x, and then we have 3, 0. So those are our two solutions. So another way to think about our solutions, there are x-intercepts, or sometimes they are called our zeros. So there's a couple different ways you can do that. Okay. So our next problem it says graph the given quadratic and identify our solutions. So we're going to identify the vertex and our solutions. So we're going to graph y equals x squared minus 4. So you're going to put it into your table. You're going to graph it in your calculator. So go to y equals, I'm not going to pull up my calculator. And my points are going to be -2, 0, -1, -3, 0, -4, 1, -3, and 2, 0. So I'm going to graph those. So -2, 0, -1, -3, 0, -4, 1, -3, and 2, 0. I'm going to draw my quadratic, or my parabola. Okay, so that is what it looks like. So my vertex is our bottommost point, our topmost. Our vertex is 0, -4. And then our y-intercept, so we can find our y-intercept a couple different places. So first we see that it crosses our x-axis at these 2 points. It's also on your table where your y value is 0. So my two solutions are -2, 0, and 2. Ooh, that looks really bad. And 2, 0. So on our first two examples, we've always used our graph to find our solutions. So going down, we're going to figure out a way to see if there's a solution without graphing. So this first one, we have y equals x squared minus 4. So we're going to do it a different way, but we're still going to get our solutions. So anytime you want to find your solutions, if you remember from above, our y value is 0. So that means if we need to figure out where our solution, so where they cross the x-axis, that means our y value will always be 0. So we need to replace y with 0. So we're going to have 0 equals x squared minus 4. I'm going to rewrite this so my 0 is on the right side, which you can do. You can just flip everything from the sides. Okay, and I'm going to solve this for x. So I'm going to add 4 to both sides. I don't know where I got 6. I'm going to get x squared equals 4. Now, I have to get x by itself. It is not by itself yet. So how do I get x by itself? The opposite of squaring a number is taking the square root. So I'm going to take the square root of both sides. So the square root of x squared is going to be x. The square root of 4, it's going to be 2. But you have to remember, anytime you square root a number, you can either get a positive or a negative of that square root. So your answer or your solutions would be x equals positive or negative 2. So we got a positive or negative 2 with our x value. Are those the same things? Are those the same? Yes. So did our solutions match? Yes. So keep that in mind. Okay, the next one, we're going to do the same thing. So since we know whenever it crosses the x-axis, our y values are 0, we're going to replace this with 0. So I'm going to rewrite this 2x squared minus 18 equals 0. I'm going to solve it, add 18. I'm going to get 2x squared equals 18. Divide both sides by 2. You get x squared equals 9. And then you have to take the square root of both sides. So your solution is x is going to equal a positive or a negative 3. So our solutions are at positive and negative 3. And if you would graph this on a calculator, your vertex should be at, so your vertex is going to be at 0, 19. So that's going to be way down here somewhere. And then you have negative 3 and positive 3, and this is just a sketch. So your graph is going to look, ooh, that's really bad. Something like that. It's not very accurate, but that's how it would look. So you go all the way down, and then your solutions are 3 and negative 3. Okay, let's go on to the back page. So we're going to keep solving these the same way. So I'm going to replace y with 0. So I'm going to rewrite this negative 3x squared plus 48 equals 0. So I'm going to subtract 48. You get negative 3x squared equals negative 48. Then you're going to divide both sides by negative 3. So you're going to get x squared equals negative 48 divided by negative 3 is going to give you 16. And then your last step is to take the square root of both sides. So you're going to get x equals plus or minus 4. So those are your solutions. So in sketching this graph, I have my vertex is going to be way up here at 48. So it's going to be really high up there. And then I'm going to have a 4 and a negative 4. Then I'm going to have my parabola. that is what my sketch is going to look like. And you can always put these in a calculator. You may just have to change your window a little bit. Okay, this one you're going to have x squared plus 9. So you're going to replace y with 0. So I'm going to have x squared plus 9 equals 0. You're going to subtract 9 on both sides. So you're going to get x squared equals negative 9. Now, if you try to take the square root of a negative number in your calculator, you're going to get an error. This is because anytime you cannot take the square root of a negative number. The reason why this parabola, its vertex is at 0, 9. And it's going up. So it's never going to cross the x-axis. So that means if it never is going to cross the x-axis, you will have no solutions. Because this graph would cross like right here and it would just go up. So it would never come in contact with this x-axis. Okay, down to the bottom, these 5, 6, and 7 are all what we call, they're in factored form. So we're going to talk about next week how we can get them into this factored form. So what you're going to do to find your solutions is you're going to set each of these factors, so negative 3, x minus 4, and x plus 2 equal to 0. So I'm going to have negative 3 equals 0, which is not true. I'm going to have x minus 4 equals 0. I'm going to solve for x. And I'm going to have x plus 2 equals 0. And I'm going to solve for x. So on this first one, I'm going to add 4. So one of my solutions is 4. And I'm going to subtract 2. So one of my solutions is negative 2. So you can still type this into the calculator if you want to see kind of where it's going to go. So you can type in negative 3 and then x minus 4 and x plus 2. Just put it in parentheses exactly how they have it. And now whenever you graph it, you should get your image. So if you look on your graph, it goes up and then back down. So it crosses at negative 2 and a positive 4. So it goes way up and then back down. The reason it is not going, it's upside down instead of right side up, it's because it's negative in the front. So our solutions are negative 2, 4. And you can write them with the brackets around them. That's how we write our solution set, as we call it. Okay, next you're going to have 2 equals 0, 2x minus 1 equals 0, and x plus 5 equals 0. Okay, so 2 does not equal 0, so I'm not going to have a solution there. You're going to add 1. 2x equals 1 and divide by 2. So x is going to equal 1/2, so that's one of your solutions. And minus 5, and x equals negative 5 is your another solution. So as in solutions that you got to do your smallest number to largest number. So negative 5 is your smallest. It's how it goes on the number line. So I'm going to have negative 5, 1/2. I'm going to write them as a solution set. So this is going to be right side up. So I have negative 5, which is going to be way over here, and then 1/2. It's going to go down and up. And you can, again, check this in your calculator to make sure your sketches are accurate. Okay, the last one is a little bit different because we have x, x minus 2, and 3x minus 9. So we're going to have x equals 0, x minus 2 equals 0, and 3x plus 9 equals 0. So x equals 0, that is a solution. You're going to have x equals 2. That's another solution. Then you're going to solve for x on this one, and you're going to get x equals -3. So there are 3 solutions. So technically, this isn't even a quadratic. So we have, let me write this correctly. We have -3, 0, 2. So we have 3 solutions for this. So if I were to type this into my calculator, because I want you to kind of graph this in your calculator to see what exactly it looks like, because this is actually a cubic equation. So it's going to cross at -3, 0, and 2. So it's going to go up, down, back up. And that is what a cubic equation looks like. Okay, let me know if you have any questions on any of this. And you guys are good to start on your homework.